Hello, friend. Welcome to Midnight Christian Radio. Thank you for finding your way here tonight. I know it's late. I know you're tired. And I'm guessing there's something weighing on your mind. Something that's been bothering you for a while now. The feeling that the world has changed. That it's moving too fast. That the things you understood, the values you held, the way life used to work, they don't seem to apply anymore. That you're a stranger in a place that used to feel like home. We're going to talk about that. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm 78 years old. I've lived through more change than most people can imagine. I remember when phones had cords, when you couldn't reach someone unless they were home, when letters took days to arrive, and that was normal, when neighborhoods knew each other, when children played outside until dark, when a handshake meant something. I remember a different world, and that world is gone. And if you're lying awake tonight feeling lost in this new world, feeling like you don't understand it, feeling like it doesn't understand you, feeling like everything that made sense has been turned upside down, then you're in the right place. I understand that feeling, that disorientation, that sense of being left behind, of being obsolete, of watching the world rush past you, speaking a language you don't quite understand. It's unsettling. I won't pretend it's not. But here's what I've learned. What I've had to learn. What's taken me years to accept. The world doesn't stop changing just because we get old. It doesn't pause to let us catch up. It doesn't care that we're comfortable with how things were. It just keeps moving, keeps evolving, keeps becoming something different. And we have a choice. We can rage against it. We can dig in our heels and insist that the old ways were better. We can spend our remaining years bitter and angry that things aren't like they used to be. Or we can accept it. We can make peace with it. We can acknowledge that change is inevitable and our discomfort with it doesn't make it wrong, just different. That's hard. I know it's hard. Because it feels like losing something. Like watching everything you knew and valued slip away. Like being forgotten. Like not mattering anymore, but you do matter. Just differently than you used to. And the world you knew, it hasn't disappeared completely. It's just transformed, evolved, become something new. And you can find your place in this new world, not by fighting it, not by pretending it's not happening, but by accepting it, by being curious about it instead of threatened by it, by recognizing that different doesn't always mean worse. There's a lamp on my desk, same one as always, brass base, green glass shade. It's old-fashioned now. Most people use LED bulbs, smart lights that you control with your phone, lights that change color, that turn on and off automatically. My lamp just sits here, does what it's always done, gives light when I flip the switch. No apps, no automation, no special features, and that's okay. It still works, still serves its purpose, still gives light in the darkness. I'm like that lamp. Old-fashioned, from another era, not equipped with all the new features, but still here, still functioning, still able to give light in my own way. And maybe that's enough. Maybe I don't need to understand everything about this new world. Maybe I don't need to keep up with every change. Maybe I can just be what I am, do what I can do, and let the rest of the world be what it is. That's what I'm learning, slowly, imperfectly, but learning. My granddaughter visited last month. She's 23, works in something called social media marketing. I don't really understand what that means. She tried to explain it to me. Something about creating content, building brands, engaging audiences. I nodded, smiled, pretended I understood more than I did. And then she pulled out her phone, started showing me things, videos that were 15 seconds long, pictures that disappeared after you looked at them, messages that were just pictures of faces making expressions. She was excited, animated, talking fast, showing me account after account, explaining strategies and algorithms and engagement rates, and I felt so lost, so completely out of my depth, like she was speaking a foreign language, like we were from different planets. I tried. I really tried. Asked questions, tried to understand why any of this mattered, why people cared about these tiny videos, why they spent hours looking at pictures of strangers, why they shared every detail of their lives with people they'd never met. She got frustrated with me. I could see it. Now, the way she started explaining things more slowly, more simply, like I was a child, like I was stupid instead of just old, and I felt it. That gap, that chasm between her world and mine, between what she values and what I value, between what makes sense to her and what makes sense to me. We used to communicate by writing letters, real letters, on paper, with stamps. We'd wait days for a response. And that was fine. That was normal. We didn't need instant communication, or didn't need to know what everyone was doing every minute of every day. But to her, that sounds unbearable, sounds isolating. She can't imagine not being connected, not being able to reach anyone at any time, not sharing her thoughts and experiences immediately with hundreds of people. And I can't imagine wanting to. Can't imagine why anyone would need that much connection, that much stimulation, that much input all the time. We're just different, products of different times, shaped by different technologies, different values, different ways of being in the world, and neither of us is wrong, just different. That's what I had to accept, what I'm still working on accepting, that her way isn't worse just because it's not my way, that the new world isn't broken just because it's not the world I knew, it's just different. And I'm allowed to not understand it, allowed to not like it, allowed to choose not to participate in all of it, but I'm not allowed to say it's wrong, not allowed to say it's destroying everything, not allowed to act like the old ways were objectively better in every way, because they weren't. The old world had plenty of problems, plenty of limitations, plenty of things that needed changing. We just can't see them as clearly because we're used to them, because they're familiar, because they're ours. The lamp flickers, steadies. I should really get it fixed. But there's something comforting about that flicker now. That reminder that things don't have to be perfect to be good. That old things can still function even if they show their age. I think about this a lot, about what's been lost and what's been gained, about whether the world is better or worse now than it was when I was young. And the honest answer is, I don't know. It's both. It's neither. It's just different. Some things are clearly better. Medicine, technology, access to information, opportunities for people who used to be excluded, rights for people who used to be oppressed. I'd be dishonest to say everything was better in the old days. It wasn't. Not by a long shot. But some things are worse, or at least feel worse to me. The pace of life, the constant connectivity, the loss of quiet, the erosion of certain kinds of community, the way people seem more isolated despite being more connected. But maybe that's just how it looks from where I'm standing. Maybe young people don't feel isolated. Maybe they feel more connected than we ever were. Maybe their online communities are just as real as our neighborhood communities used to be. I don't know. I can't know. I'm not them. I'm not living their experience. All I know is my own experience, my own discomfort, my own sense of displacement. And I'm learning that that's okay, that I don't have to love this new world, don't have to understand it completely, don't have to participate in all of it. I can live on the margins, can maintain my old ways while the world rushes past, can be a quiet observer instead of an active participant. That's not giving up. That's not being left behind. That's just choosing what works for me, what feels authentic to me, what allows me to maintain my sense of self in a world that doesn't quite make room for people like me anymore. There was a time when age meant wisdom, when older people were respected for their experience, when their knowledge mattered, when their way of doing things was valued. I don't think that's true anymore, not in the same way. Now, change happens so fast that experience doesn't count for as much. What worked 20 years ago might be completely irrelevant now. The skills I spent a lifetime building might not apply anymore. And that's hard. That's a loss. That feeling of being obsolete, of having nothing valuable to contribute, of being a relic from a bygone era. But I'm learning that that's not entirely true either. I do have something to offer, just not what I thought I had to offer. I can't teach my granddaughter how to use technology better. Can't help her navigate the modern workplace. Can't give her advice about careers that didn't exist when I was her age. But I can listen, can be present, can offer the perspective that comes from having lived a long time, can remind her that some things don't change, that human nature is still human nature, that kindness matters, that integrity matters, that relationships matter. Those truths don't become obsolete, don't get replaced by new technology, don't go out of style, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's my role now, not to lead, not to teach practical skills, but to be a steady presence, a reminder of continuity, a connection to a different time and different values that still have worth even if the world has moved on. The clock on the wall says it's almost 3. I can hear it ticking. Same sound it's made for years. Steady, reliable, and old-fashioned in a world of digital clocks and phones that tell time. But it still works, still marks the hours, still does what it was made to do, like me, like you, probably. Still here, still functioning, still valuable, even if the world doesn't quite know what to do with us anymore. I was in a store last week, grocery store. Same one I've been going to for 30 years, but they've changed everything. Added self-checkout lanes, scan your own items, bag them yourself, or pay without talking to anyone. I stood there looking at the machines, trying to figure out how they worked, where to start, what to do. A young employee came over, maybe 20, smiled at me, patient but slightly condescending. The way you smile at a child who's trying to tie their shoes. He walked me through it, scanned the barcode, place it in the bag. The machine weighs it to make sure you're not stealing. Tap your card. Don't insert it. Tap it. I did what he said. Got through it. Paid for my groceries. Left. But I felt diminished. Felt stupid. Felt like I should know how to do this simple thing that everyone else seems to find effortless. And I realized this is how it's going to be now. More and more. The world will keep changing. Keep adding new systems and technologies that everyone else adopts easily and I struggle with. And I can either accept that, make peace with it, ask for help when I need it without feeling ashamed, or I can be angry, bitter, resentful that the world expects me to keep up, that it doesn't make accommodations for people who learned a different way. I'm trying to choose the first option, trying to accept it, trying to see it as just part of being old in a young person's world. But it's hard. It's humbling. It requires me to let go of pride, let go of the idea that I should be competent at everything, let go of the expectation that the world should slow down for me. There was a man I knew, friend from church. Name was Robert. He died a few years ago, in his 90s. And I remember visiting him near the end. He was in a nursing home, not because he was sick, just because he couldn't live alone anymore, couldn't manage all the things that modern life requires. He'd sit in his room, read old books, listen to old music, watch old movies. He'd basically retreated into the past, surrounded himself with things from his era, from the world he understood. And I didn't blame him, didn't judge him. Understood completely why he'd done it. But I also saw the cost, saw how isolated he was, how disconnected, how little he engaged with the world around him, how much life he was missing because he'd decided it wasn't for him anymore. And I don't want that. Don't want to retreat so far into the past that I lose the present. Don't want to be so uncomfortable with change that I stop participating in life altogether. So I'm trying to find a balance. So I'm trying to maintain what matters to me while also staying open to what's new. Trying to accept that I won't understand everything, won't like everything, won't participate in everything. But I can still be here, still be present, still find ways to connect and contribute and matter, even if it's different than how I used to matter, even if my role has changed, even if I'm more observer than participant now. That's okay. That's enough. The lamp burns steady. The night continues. And somewhere out there, the world keeps changing, keeps moving forward, keeps becoming something I don't quite recognize. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be my world anymore. It doesn't have to make sense to me. It doesn't have to accommodate my preferences. It just has to let me be here. Let me live out my remaining time in my own way. Let me hold on to what matters to me while it rushes past pursuing what matters to it. And there's peace in that. There's freedom in that. In accepting that I'm not in charge anymore. That the world doesn't revolve around my understanding or approval. That it's okay to be a little lost, a little confused, a little out of step, because I'm still here, still breathing, still capable of love and connection and meaning, just in my own way, at my own pace, in my own corner of this strange new world. And that's enough. If you're lying awake tonight, feeling lost in this changed world, feeling like you don't understand it anymore, feeling like you don't belong, I want you to hear this. You're not alone. Others feel it too. This disorientation, this displacement, this sense that the world has moved on without you, and it's okay. You don't have to understand everything, don't have to keep up with everything, don't have to like everything about this new world. You can be yourself, hold on to your values, live according to what makes sense to you, even if it's old-fashioned, even if it's out of step, even if the world has moved past it. You matter. Your experience matters. Your perspective matters, even if it's not valued the way it used to be, even if it's not central anymore, even if it's been pushed to the margins. You're still here, still part of this world, still worthy of respect and dignity and care. Don't let the changes make you bitter. Don't let the confusion make you angry. Don't let the displacement make you retreat completely. Stay engaged, stay curious, stay open, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it doesn't make sense. Because this is still your world too. You still have a place in it. You still have something to offer. Just be willing to accept that it's changed, that it will keep changing, that your place in it might be different than it used to be. But different doesn't mean worthless, doesn't mean irrelevant, doesn't mean you don't belong. You do belong right here, right now, in this strange new world that doesn't quite make sense. And we'll figure it out together, one day at a time, one change at a time, one moment of acceptance at a time. The night is long, but we'll make it through together. The air has shifted slightly. Not colder, not warmer, just different. The way it gets when you've been sitting with something heavy long enough that it starts to feel familiar. Not lighter, not resolved, just known. I'm still here, still in this room with this lamp, still thinking about change, still working through what it means to be old in a world that feels increasingly foreign. It's strange how some changes bother you more than others, how some you can accept easily and others stick in your throat, make you angry in ways you can't quite explain. I don't care about most technology. Don't care that phones are different now, that cars drive themselves, that you can talk to a machine and it answers you. Fine. Whatever. The world changes. Technology advances. That's how it's always been. But there are some changes that feel different, feel like losses instead of just changes, feel like something essential has been taken away. You know, the way people talk to each other now, that bothers me. The casualness, the lack of formality, the way young people address elders by their first names without asking, the way respect seems optional now instead of expected. I was raised to call adults Mr. and Mrs., to stand when a woman entered the room, to defer to age and experience, not because older people were better, but because that's how you showed respect, how you acknowledged that someone had lived longer and learned more. That's gone now, or mostly gone. Young people call me by my first name, interrupt me when I'm talking, disagree with me without any hesitation or deference. And part of me knows that's not necessarily bad, knows that the old hierarchies had problems, that respect based solely on age could be used to shut down good ideas, that formality could hide cruelty and injustice. But another part of me just misses it, misses being treated with that automatic respect. He misses the feeling that age meant something, that experience counted for something, that there was a natural order and I'd earned my place in it. Now I feel invisible, irrelevant, like I could disappear and no one would notice or care. That's self-pity talking, I know. But it's also true. The world doesn't need me anymore, doesn't value what I have to offer, has moved on to newer, younger, faster versions of everything I used to be. And that's hard. That's a grief. That sense of being replaced, made obsolete, left behind. The lamp hums softly. There's a moth somewhere in the room. Same moth maybe from earlier. Still searching. Still drawn to light. Still hoping to find something. I understand that impulse. That searching. That sense that there must be something. Some place you fit. Some purpose you serve. Some reason you're still here. I'm looking for that too. Trying to figure out what my role is now. what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to be. I can't work anymore. Got retired 15 years ago. Can't contribute economically, can't build or fix or produce things the way I used to. I can't keep up physically, can't do the things I used to do, can't help with heavy lifting or long hours or sustained effort. I can't even navigate the basic systems of modern life without help sometimes. Can't figure out new websites, can't understand new processes, can't adapt as quickly as the world expects me to. So what am I for? What's my purpose? Why am I still here taking up space and resources if I can't contribute anything useful? Those are dark thoughts. I know they are. But they come sometimes, late at night, when I'm tired and discouraged and feeling the weight of all this change, and I have to talk myself through them. Remind myself that worth isn't just about productivity, that humans have value beyond what they can do, that being here, being alive, being present, that's enough. But it's hard to believe that in a world that seems to measure everything by output, by efficiency, by what you produce and achieve and accomplish. Old people don't produce much, don't achieve much, don't accomplish much. We just are. We exist. We take up space and time and resources, and the world tolerates that, mostly, but it doesn't value it, doesn't celebrate it, doesn't make room for it gladly. We're a burden, a drain, a reminder that everyone gets old and useless eventually. That's harsh. I know it's harsh, but it's how it feels sometimes. How the world makes you feel when you're old and slow and can't keep up. I had a conversation with my daughter last month. She was talking about her work, some project she's managing, lots of stress, lots of pressure, lots of people depending on her. And I tried to offer advice, tried to share what I'd learned from my own career, tried to help, and she smiled, patient, kind, but dismissive. She said, "It's different now, Dad. The way things work now, the tools we use, the pace we move at. Your experience doesn't really apply." She didn't mean it cruelly. She was just being honest, just stating a fact. But it hurt. Hurt to be told that everything I learned, everything I built, everything I know, it doesn't apply anymore. It's obsolete, irrelevant, from a different era that doesn't matter now. And I wanted to argue, wanted to say that some things don't change, that people are still people, that good management is good management regardless of the tools. But I didn't, because maybe she's right. Maybe it is different now. Maybe my experience really doesn't apply. Maybe I'm holding on to the past and refusing to see that it's gone. I don't know. Can't know. I'm too close to it. Too invested in believing that what I learned matters, that my life had meaning, that it wasn't all just wasted time building skills that would become useless. The clock ticks. 3:30 now. Deep night. The hour when doubts are strongest. When everything feels harder. When the weight of being old in a young world feels almost unbearable. But I'm still here. Still sitting with it. Still trying to make peace with it. There's a thing young people say now. "Okay, boomer." They say it dismissively, mockingly, when an older person says something they disagree with or don't understand. "Okay, boomer." Like, your opinion doesn't matter. Your experience is irrelevant. You're from another time, and we're done listening to you. I've never had it said to me directly, but I've heard it, seen it online, watched young people use it to shut down older people, to dismiss them without engaging with what they're actually saying. And it bothers me more than it should, because it's just words, just a phrase, just the latest way generations signal their differences. But it feels like more than that. Feels like a declaration that we're done, that our time is over, that we should be quiet now and let them handle things. And maybe they're right. Maybe we should be quiet. Maybe we've had our turn and now it's theirs. But it's hard to accept that, hard to step back, hard to watch them make what look like mistakes and not try to warn them, not try to help, even if our help isn't wanted, even if our warnings are dismissed, even if we're just okay, boomer to them. I think about the world I'm leaving them, about what we did right and what we did wrong, about what we built and what we broke, and I have mixed feelings, pride in some things, shame in others, confusion about most of it. We created prosperity, at least for some, created technologies that have made life easier in many ways, created opportunities that didn't exist before. But we also created problems, big problems, climate change, economic inequality, political division, social fragmentation. And now we're handing all of that to them, saying, here, this is your problem now. We're too old to fix it. Good luck. And they're angry about that. Understandably, they didn't create these problems, but they have to live with the consequences, have to figure out solutions while we sit back and criticize how they're doing it. Okay, boomer, I get it. I do. We failed them in some ways, and they have every right to be frustrated with us. But it still hurts, still feels unfair, because we were trying. We did the best we could with what we knew. We weren't trying to destroy the world or make life harder for them. We just didn't see, didn't understand, didn't know what we were creating, and now it's too late. The damage is done, and we have to live with knowing we contributed to it. That the world we're leaving is worse in some ways than the world we inherited. That's a heavy thing to carry. That guilt, that shame, that sense of having failed the next generation, even if we didn't mean to, even if we didn't know, even if we were just living our lives the best way we knew how. The lamp flickers, steadies, old, reliable, still doing what it was made to do. I want to be like that. Want to keep giving light even if the world has moved on to newer, better sources. Want to keep serving my purpose even if that purpose has changed. But I don't always know what that purpose is anymore. Don't always know how to be useful, how to contribute, how to matter. Maybe that's okay. Maybe not knowing is part of being old, part of accepting that you're not in control anymore, that your role has changed, that you're supporting now instead of leading, observing instead of directing. There was a woman I knew, worked with her years ago. Her name was Helen. She died last year, in her mid-80s. And I remember talking to her a few years before she died. She was struggling with the same things I'm struggling with, the sense of displacement, the feeling of being obsolete. But she'd found a kind of peace with it. She told me, I don't understand the world anymore, and I've stopped trying to. I just focus on the things I can understand, the people I love, the small routines that give my days structure, the simple pleasures that still work for me. She said, the world can be whatever it wants to be. I'm just going to be over here being myself, and that's enough. I admired that. That acceptance, that ability to let go of needing to understand or approve or control. I'm not there yet. It's just still fighting it sometimes, still getting frustrated, still feeling that pull to stay relevant, to keep up, to matter in the ways I used to matter. But I'm working toward it, working toward Helen's peace, her acceptance, her ability to just be. Maybe that's wisdom, real wisdom, not knowledge or understanding or being right about things, but acceptance, letting go, making peace with what is instead of fighting for what was. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, still wrestling with it. It's still trying to find my place in this world that doesn't quite make room for people like me anymore, but I'm here. Still here, still breathing, still capable of love and thought and presence. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all I need to be. Here, present, accepting, even if I don't understand, even if I don't approve, even if I don't fit. The night is deep now, that particular depth that comes around 4 in the morning. When night has been going so long, it feels like it might never end, even though you know it will. Even though you know morning always comes, change is like that too. Feels endless, feels overwhelming, feels like it might sweep away everything you knew and valued, but it doesn't. Some things endure, some things remain, some things matter regardless of how much the surface changes. Love, kindness, honesty, integrity, connection, meaning. Those things don't become obsolete, don't get replaced by new technologies, don't go out of style. And maybe that's where I focus now. Not on the things that are changing and leaving me behind, but on the things that remain. The things that matter regardless of the era. The things that connect me to people regardless of age or technology or cultural shifts. My granddaughter and I might not understand each other's worlds, might not value the same things, might not communicate the same way, but we can still love each other, still care about each other, just still find moments of connection that transcend all the differences. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what matters. Not understanding everything, not keeping up with everything, but maintaining the connections that matter, the relationships that endure, the love that persists, even across the generational divide. I'm going to try to focus on that, on what remains instead of what's lost, on what connects instead of what divides, on what still works instead of what doesn't work anymore. It won't be easy. I'll still feel lost sometimes, still feel frustrated, still feel that ache of displacement, but I'll also feel love, feel connection, feel the simple satisfactions that don't depend on understanding the modern world, and that will be enough. Has to be enough, because it's all I have. All any of us have, really. This moment, this connection, this small light in the darkness, old-fashioned maybe, obsolete maybe, but still here, still burning, still giving what light it can. And that's enough. There's a quality to this hour. 4:30, maybe closer to 5. The clock keeps ticking, but I've stopped paying attention to exactly what time it is. Just know it's deep. Know I've been awake for hours. Know morning is still a ways off, but closer than it was. I'm still here, still thinking about all of this, still trying to make sense of what it means to be old in this new world. Been thinking about values, about what we believed was important, what we taught our children, what we thought would endure, and how much of that has changed, how much has been challenged, how much has been rejected by the generation coming up. We believed in hard work, in showing up, in doing your job even when you didn't feel like it, in loyalty to your employer, in putting in your time. We believed in respect for authority, for institutions, for the way things were done, for tradition and precedent and established order. We believed in keeping things private, in not airing your problems publicly, in maintaining dignity, in suffering quietly when you had to suffer. We believed in staying married, in making it work, in commitment regardless of happiness, in duty over fulfillment. And now, none of that seems to hold. None of that seems valued. All of it has been questioned and found wanting. Young people change jobs constantly, leave when they're not happy, prioritize their own well-being over loyalty. And they're told that's healthy, that's good, that's taking care of themselves. They question authority, challenge institutions, reject tradition for tradition's sake, and they're told that's critical thinking, that's progress, that's refusing to accept unjust systems. They share everything online, every thought, every feeling, every struggle. And they're told that's vulnerability, that's authenticity, that's being real. They leave marriages that aren't working, prioritize happiness over duty, put themselves first. And they're told that self-respect, that's refusing to settle. That's healthy boundaries. And I don't know what to think about any of it. Don't know if they're right, and we were wrong, or if we were right, and they're making mistakes they'll regret, or if it's more complicated than right and wrong, if it's just different approaches to different times. But I know I feel unmoored, feel like everything I believed has been questioned, everything I valued has been challenged, that everything I built my life on has been declared insufficient or misguided or even harmful. And that's hard. That's a kind of grief. That sense that your whole framework for understanding the world has been rejected. Not by everyone, not universally, but enough. Enough that it's clear the world has moved on from those values, that they're seen as old-fashioned at best and destructive at worst. My son died young. I mentioned that before. 31. And one of the hard things about losing him was losing the future I'd imagined. The relationship we'd have as he got older, the grandchildren he might have given me, the connection that would span the generations. But there's another loss I didn't anticipate, the loss of passing on my values, my understanding of how the world works, my wisdom, such as it was. My daughter has her own values, her own understanding, her own wisdom, and it's different from mine, in some ways opposed to mine. And my grandchildren will be even further, even more different, even less connected to the way I see the world, and there's no one to carry forward what I believed, what I valued, what I thought mattered. It dies with me, with my generation, becomes a historical curiosity instead of a living tradition. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe every generation has to find its own way, build its own values, reject what came before in order to create what comes next. But it still feels like a loss, like something being taken away, like the work of building a life and learning lessons and developing wisdom. All of it meaningless because no one wants it anymore. The lamp burns steady. No flicker now, just constant light, doing what it's always done, regardless of whether anyone values it or needs it or pays attention to it. Maybe that's all I can do too. Just keep being what I am. Keep holding the values I hold. Keep believing what I believe, even if the world has moved on. Even if no one cares, even if it all dies with me, at least I'll know I was consistent, that I didn't abandon what I believed just because it fell out of fashion, that I stood for something even if that something became irrelevant. There's dignity in that, maybe, in being yourself even when the world wants you to be something else, in holding on to your values even when they're challenged, in remaining true to what you believe even when it's no longer valued. Or maybe that's just stubbornness, pride, inability to adapt, refusal to learn and grow and change. I honestly don't know anymore. Don't know if I'm being principled or just rigid, wise or just old-fashioned, true to myself or just resistant to growth. It's all so confusing, so unclear, so different from the world where things seemed black and white, right and wrong, clear and simple. Maybe that world never existed. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, simplifying it, making it clearer in memory than it ever was in reality. But it felt clearer then. Felt like you could know what was right, could trust certain principles, could build a life on a foundation that wouldn't shift. Now everything shifts. Everything's questioned. Everything's up for debate. And there's no solid ground to stand on, just quicksand. Constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly pulling you under if you don't keep moving with it. And I'm tired. Tired of moving. Tired of adapting. All tired of being told that what I believed is wrong or harmful or outdated. I just want to rest. Want to be allowed to be what I am without constantly having to justify it or defend it or change it. But the world doesn't allow that. The world demands constant adaptation, constant growth, constant change, and if you can't keep up, if you can't adapt fast enough, you're left behind, dismissed, irrelevant. Okay, boomer, that phrase again, echoing in my head, reminding me that I'm not wanted anymore, not valued, not part of the conversation. I need to let that go. Need to stop letting it bother me. Need to accept that it's just words, just generational frustration, just the latest version of the eternal conflict between old and young. But it's hard, because it feels like more than that. Feels like a rejection, not just of my ideas, but of my worth, my place, my right to have a voice. And maybe that's my pride talking, my ego, my inability to accept that I'm not important anymore. But it still hurts. The clock says 5 now. The darkness is definitely changing. Not lighter yet, but thinner, less solid. That quality that says morning is coming even though it's not here yet. I've been thinking about a conversation I had years ago, must be 20 years now, with a man who was in his 80s then. I was in my 50s. Still relatively young, still confident, still sure I understood how the world worked. He said something I didn't understand at the time. He said, the hardest thing about getting old isn't the body failing. It's watching the world change into something you don't recognize, something that doesn't want you anymore. I nodded, smiled, thought I understood, but I didn't. Not really, because I was still in my world, still part of the dominant culture, still relevant. Now I understand. Now I'm him. The old man watching the world change, watching himself become irrelevant, watching everything he knew slip away. And he was right. It is the hardest thing. Harder than physical decline, harder than facing death. This sense of displacement, of not belonging, of being a stranger in your own world. I wonder if every generation feels this way. If my parents felt it, if their parents felt it. If it's just the eternal cycle of time moving forward and leaving the old behind. Probably. Probably this is nothing new. Nothing unique to my experience. Just the same old story playing out again. But knowing that doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make the feeling go away. Doesn't make me feel less lost. I'm just another old man complaining about how things used to be better. How young people don't understand. how the world is going to hell. Every generation has had old men like me, saying the same things, feeling the same displacement, resisting the same changes, and the world kept moving anyway, kept changing anyway, kept leaving them behind anyway. And I'm no different, no special, no more right than they were. Just another link in the chain, another generation that had its time and now has to step aside for the next one. There's humility in that recognition, in accepting that I'm not special, that my concerns aren't unique, that my discomfort is just the standard experience of being old. It doesn't make it hurt less, but it puts it in perspective, reminds me that this is normal, natural, part of the cycle, and that helps a little, knowing that others have been through this, that they survived it, that they found ways to make peace with it. I can too. I am, slowly, one day at a time, one acceptance at a time. The lamp, the clock, the night, all the old familiar things, still here, still functioning, still serving their purpose even in a world that's moved on to newer, better versions. And me, still here, still functioning, still trying to serve some purpose even if I'm not sure what it is anymore. That's enough, has to be enough, because it's all I have, and I'm learning to be grateful for it, for still being here, still being alive, still being able to think and feel and observe even if I don't understand, still being part of this world even if I'm on the margins now, even if I'm obsolete, even if I'm just waiting to fade away. I'm still here, and that counts for something. That means something. Even if the world doesn't particularly care, I care. I'm here. I'm present. I'm doing my best to accept what is instead of mourning what was. And that's enough. The darkness is gray now. That particular gray that comes right before dawn, when the shapes of things start to emerge, when you can almost see but not quite, the threshold between night and day. I'm still here, still awake, still sitting with all of this, the weight of change, the confusion of living in a world I don't fully understand, the grief of watching everything familiar slip away, but something's shifted. Maybe it's just the approaching morning, maybe it's exhaustion, maybe it's simply having sat with these feelings long enough that they've lost some of their sharpness. But I feel a little lighter, a little more at peace, a little more accepting. I don't have to understand this new world, don't have to like it, don't have to keep up with it. I can just let it be what it is while I am what I am. There's freedom in that, in letting go of the need to stay relevant, to stay current, to stay valued in the ways I used to be valued. I can just be, can exist, can live out my remaining time according to my own values and preferences and pace. The world will keep changing, keep moving forward, keep becoming something new, and I'll be here, on the side, watching, observing, living my quiet life in my own way. And that's okay. That's enough. That's a valid way to be old in a young world. I think about my granddaughter again. How different we are. How little we understand each other's worlds. How wide the gap between us is. But we love each other. That hasn't changed. Won't change. Transcends all the differences and all the confusion and all the frustration. She doesn't need me to understand her world. Doesn't need me to approve of her choices. Doesn't need me to keep up with her technology or her values or her way of being. She just needs me to love her, to be there for her, to be a steady presence in her life even if I'm confused by everything else about it. And I can do that. can be that, can offer that one thing even if I can't offer anything else. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's my role now. Not teacher, not advisor, not someone who shapes the future, just someone who loves, who's present, who's here, a grandfather, an old man, a relic from another time who still cares, still shows up, still offers what he can, even if it's not much. That's enough. Has to be enough, because it's what I have to give. The lamp is still burning. Been burning all night, faithful, constant, never asking to be anything other than what it is. And I'm going to be like that, going to stop fighting what I am, stop trying to be something else, stop apologizing for being old and slow and confused. I'm just going to be, going to exist, going to live the way that makes sense to me, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. I'm going to use my old-fashioned lamp instead of buying a smart bulb, going to call people instead of texting, going to write letters sometimes because I like the feel of pen on paper, going to move at my own pace and speak in my own way and value what I value. And if that makes me okay, boomer, then fine. I'm okay with being a boomer, with being from another time, with carrying values that aren't fashionable anymore. I'm not going to change who I am, just to fit into a world that doesn't have room for me. Not going to pretend to understand things I don't understand. Not going to adopt values I don't believe in just to seem relevant. I'm going to be authentically myself, genuinely me, even if that me is outdated and obsolete and irrelevant. Because that's all I can be. That's all any of us can be, ourselves, in whatever time we're given, in whatever world we find ourselves in. And there's dignity in that. There's integrity in that. There's peace in that. The bird is starting to sing outside, the first one, testing the morning, seeing if it's safe to begin. And then others join. And then the chorus builds. And then the world wakes up to another day in this strange new world that I don't quite understand. But I'm still here, still part of it, still alive in it, still contributing in my small way just by being present, by loving, by showing up. The lamp doesn't need to understand the smart home system to give light. It just gives light. That's what it does. That's what it is. And I don't need to understand the modern world to live in it. I just live. Now, that's what I do. That's what I am. And when I'm gone, when my time is over, the world will keep changing, keep moving forward, keep becoming something new. And that's okay. That's good. That's how it should be. I had my time, my turn, my moment to shape the world. And I did what I could with what I knew. Now it's their turn, their time, their world to shape. And I can let that be. Can release my grip on trying to control it, or influence it, or even understand it. I can just be here, loving the people I love, holding the values I hold, living the way that makes sense to me, for however much time I have left, for however long this lamp keeps burning, for however many more mornings I get to see. The darkness is lifting now, real light, natural light. The sun hasn't risen yet, but you can feel it coming, can sense the shift from night to day. And I'm grateful for this night, for this time to think, for this process of working through my feelings about all this change. I'm grateful for still being here, still being alive, still being able to feel and think and love even in a world I don't fully understand. I'm grateful for the lamp, for the clock, for the old familiar things that remain constant even as everything else changes. I'm grateful for my granddaughter, for the connection we have even across the generational divide, for the love that transcends all our differences. I'm grateful for this moment, this breath, this opportunity to be alive in this strange new world, not understanding it, not controlling it, not shaping it, just being in it, being part of it, being present in it. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. If you're lying awake tonight, feeling lost in this changed world, feeling displaced and confused and irrelevant, I want you to hear this. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to keep up with everything. You don't have to change who you are to fit into this new world. You can be yourself, can hold your values, can live according to what makes sense to you. The world will keep changing, but you don't have to change with it. You can be the constant, the steady thing, the link to another time and another way. And that matters. That has value. Even if the world doesn't recognize it, even if you feel irrelevant, even if no one seems to care, you matter. Your presence matters. Your way of being matters, just by being here, just by being yourself, just by refusing to disappear or conform or pretend to be something you're not. You're a witness to another time, a carrier of different values, a reminder that there are other ways to be, other things to value, other measures of what matters. And the world needs that diversity, needs that reminder, needs you to be yourself even if it doesn't know it needs you. So be yourself, hold your ground, live your values, love your people, give your light in whatever way you can give it, and let the world be what it is. Let it change, let it move forward, let it become something new. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to be part of it in ways that don't feel authentic to you. You just have to be here, be present, be yourself. And that's enough. That's always been enough. That will always be enough. The lamp is off now. The morning light is sufficient, natural, real, the kind that doesn't need switches or bulbs or electricity, the kind that just comes every morning, without fail, without asking permission, without caring about how we feel about it. The world is like that too. It comes, it changes, it becomes, whether we understand it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we're ready or not. And we can either fight that or accept that. I'm choosing to accept it, to make peace with it, to let the world be what it is while I am what I am. And in that acceptance, I'm finding freedom. I'm finding peace. I'm finding a way to be old in a young world without losing myself, without becoming bitter, without retreating completely, without giving up, just being here, present, myself, in this strange new world that doesn't quite make room for me, but that I'm still part of anyway. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. The night is over. The morning is here. And I'm still here too, still breathing, still thinking, still loving, still being, in my own way, at my own pace, according to my own values. And that's how I'll keep being, for however long I'm given, not fighting the changes, not demanding the world accommodate me, not insisting things go back to how they were, just being myself, in this world as it is, as it becomes, and finding peace in that, finding meaning in that, finding enough in that, the lamp, the morning, the quiet acceptance of what is. That's all. That's enough. That's everything.